All right, everybody, welcome back. I have with a colleague of mine, Mr. Brad Dubs, for an interview today. Brad, welcome. It's nice to see you.
Hey, thank you very much for having me, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate this.
Well, thank you. So you're in your ninth year at the band director or as the band director of El Dorado High School, and this is your, what, 24th year teaching? Is that correct?
It's my 24th year of teaching.
Wow, congratulations. That's awesome. So prior to teaching at El Dorado, you were the band director at Manzano, right?
I was at Manzano for 6 years before I got here. And then prior to that, I was the assistant band director at Rio Rancho High School for 6 years. And before that, I was at Jackson Middle School for 2 years. And then my very first year of teaching was the year before that, which was teaching middle school band in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously, I take it that you enjoy teaching. Any thoughts now here, your 24th year? Any thoughts to the future? Your goals? I mean, where do you go from here now?
You know, that's a great question because honestly, I have started thinking about that quite a bit. I'm not going to lie in the fact that, you know, the last couple of years has just been really, really, really difficult. It's been very taxing emotionally and physically. And, you know, we're still picking up the pieces, obviously, from the mess that we were all in the last year and a half as teachers and being in charge of programs like ours. It took its toll, that's for sure. So, you know, I got some things floating in the back of my mind. I don't think anything concrete, or probably even, let's just say that they're far-fetched dreams. But I don't know. We'll see if any of those come to fruition in the future.
Well, I will tell you from a personal perspective, once I retired from air traffic control, music became kind of my primary thing. And I will say that my trumpet playing has grown leaps and bounds. So keep that in the back of your head.
Okay. Good to know.
So you graduated from UNM and correct me if I'm wrong, in 1997, right?
It was actually 98.
Oh, okay. So you
So
graduated in 98 with a degree in music education.
correct.
Okay. So was this your plan all along to be a band director at the highest level, which I will say that El Dorado High School is one of the premier band programs here in New Mexico. So was this your aspiration? Was this what you wanted to do, or did you have like a loftier goal maybe to teach at the college level or the university level?
At one point, I think I did want to teach at the college level. I kind of always had that floating around in the back of my head, but um, more in the forefront was to, you know, eventually teach high school band. And I did my student teaching actually my last semester of UNM. I actually did my student teaching at a powerhouse school at the time up outside of Denver in the Arvada area. And I mean, it was just like one of the, you know, cream of the crop groups in the country. And I always kind of thought I wanted to do that. And ultimately, you know, I'm glad I did not go right into teaching high school right away because I wouldn't recommend that for anybody. Um, it's just there are so many factors that I think um, as a college student you don't realize what all is involved, and I think, you know, for somebody to get their feet wet first with just teaching in general and maybe something a little more low key, which is, you know, I'm not saying middle school band either is
Oh
anything
no.
easy at all, because that was, I mean, I really enjoyed teaching middle school, but it was extremely challenging. And but logistics and just in terms of all the aspects of running a high school band program, um, I'm glad that I had a few years in middle school, and I'm glad that I had those 6 years as an assistant director to kind of get some things together to prepare me for what I'm in right now.
Yeah, teaching is not hard. I mean, teaching is not easy. Excuse me, I said that backwards.
Yeah,
Teaching is, well, let me rephrase that, because here's my experience. Teaching kids is easy. It's getting all the other stuff that's really complicated. Fundraising, band parents, getting the administration behind you. All that other stuff is that, the teaching part is fun. I like teaching kids. It's that other stuff that was really, really, really tough is what I found out. I
sure.
mean, it's not easy, and you are in a very successful program. I mean, I compliment you because I see El Dorado program all the time when it comes to all the music stuff. And, I get to deal with a lot of your colleagues and John and some of those other guys, and they always compliment you on what you've done with the program. And that's awesome. I think that shows that you've done wonderful things, and you're a great instructor. You're a great teacher. So that's
Well,
awesome.
that's very kind of not only you to say that, but those other people, and um, it's very kind. But it's difficult, when you talk about our program. Like I said, it's pretty amazing what the shutdown did to schools all over the country.
Hmm.
And when you had the ball rolling pretty well, and now it's just like you're back down at the bottom of the hill, and you're trying to you know get things going again. So but again, having said that, I think we are still doing our best to maintain the program, and and eventually to get it to grow again where we had it. So
Yeah,
and
and I think so.
fortunately too, this place is wonderful in the sense that there's a great administrative team that supports us. I work with a gentleman named Steve Snowden, who I think you
Yep.
know well,
Yes.
and he's a wonderful person to work with, and I think we have a good team.
Yeah. Well, when you have a great support system, it makes things a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah,
So now I don't know your background very much. Are you from the Albuquerque area, or where are you from?
I am. Yeah, born and
Okay.
raised. I, I was actually a student. I said I taught at Jackson Middle School, but I was a student there as well. I graduated from Manzano High School, and ended up going to UNM. Um, my parents didn't have a lot of money, and of course UNM is right here in town, and I thought it was a really great program for me. So,
Yeah,
but
UNM's a great program. It actually has a great music education and a great performance school. I mean, I know a lot of people, they'll first thing Albuquerque, I want to get out of town. I want to get out of town. I was the same thing. I went north to Colorado, but UNM is a great program. And if you're a resident, it's also a great price.
absolutely,
So I thank you. I didn't know if you were from Albuquerque or not. So you graduated from Manzano, if you don't mind me asking, what year?
that was 1993.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. So, my boy, I bet that was strange going back, being a graduate from 93 and going back to teach at Manzano. I bet that was kind of fun.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I was fortunate to have that opportunity, and that having that connection, that was a treat.
Good. Cool. So, now let's talk about you as a trumpet player, because I know for a fact, and you're going to smile, but you are really an awesome trumpet player. I have heard you. See, I told you you were going to. I have heard
Yeah.
you play lead for the Albuquerque Jazz Orchestra. You are a first call trumpet player in many situations. I mean, now how long have you been involved with AJO? Because I remember we did a couple of gigs many years ago before I kind of fell off the scene. I mean, you've been playing in AJO for years and years and years, right?
You know, you may have been on the same gig, which was my first one. I had just graduated. I think maybe you and I were both subbing. I was trying to think about this, and I had just graduated high school. There was a gig that the jazz orchestra had, and my director, my high school band director at the time, his name was Bruce Crokin, who
Hmm.
was also a member of the jazz orchestra, you know, and Kent Erickson, who was a mentor and teacher of mine. Uh, One of those guys, you know, called me to play, and of course, it, you know, had been my dream for several years to try to play, and I think I just kind of I don't know what the circumstances were where I I was able to start playing with them on a regular basis. So that was my first gig with them, right after I graduated high school.
Yeah, I think we played a couple. I mean, it wasn't much because I fell completely off the scene. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I had other things that kind of took precedence in life, and I kind of just put everything away for a while. So the other question, I guess, is so you know you are the first call trumpet player for Popejoy Hall. Anytime a Broadway show comes through and stuff like that, you get that phone call. That must be awesome.
Well, I don't know if I'm the first call. I'll say that. I do know that that I had been referred by a couple of other members, maybe you know, symphony members had given folks my name, and so I've been fortunate enough to play a few of those shows, um, which are extremely and actually I've had to turn down some, which is a total drag, but of course I hate turning down those opportunities, but you know, when you have this program and you have stuff on your calendar that there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can do. But the but those shows that I have done, boy, I tell you, not only is it fun and exciting, but for me, it's pretty stressful because it's physically, you know, not being a full-time regular professional trumpet player, like practicing hours and hours and hours a day, you know, to try to prep for those things and teach at the same time. That was quite a challenge.
Oh, I
Um,
bet it is.
and it's a and I applaud. You know, I follow a lot of some of those Broadway trumpet players, Tony Cadlick and
Hmm.
Paul Barron, who I know tours around with, I think, Frozen now and stuff like that. And I just, I can't say enough about those people because if you're the only trumpet player, especially, to have that pressure of, you know, just being on it and not
Yeah.
making mistakes is, to me, it was a great challenge but pretty stressful.
Oh, well, speaking of stressful, I saw you share the stage with Wayne Bergeron not too long ago. What was that, about 2 or 3 years ago? And I'll tell you what, I mean, you really did shine when he
Oh,
called you up to play that duet. That was absolutely awesome. I bet that was exciting as hell, and also full of pressure too.
oh man, you know, I think I'm in the same boat with many people when you say that Wayne Bergeron is many of our heroes. I
Yes.
mean, it's unbelievable. I truly think he is absolutely one of the best in the world, and I applaud him now even more for what he has recently gone through over
Yeah.
the, you know, over the, you know, when the world was shutting down and he's finding out that he has throat cancer,
Yep.
and he makes this comeback and he's back.
Yep.
It's truly amazing. But it was a treat to play along with him, and yeah, that was actually December of 19. We had him out for a fundraiser,
Hmm.
and we've had him out a couple of times, which is always, he's such a sweetheart of a person, and again, just world class.
Yeah. I tell you what, it was very. I applaud you immensely, because I would have been nervous as heck walking up there to try to play that. And it's not like what he gave you was easy, because that's that duet he normally plays with Louis Dowdeswell. And that goes, I mean, that really does go high. So I compliment you on your performance that night, because I was in absolute awe of Wayne and you both standing up there. It was amazing. My compliments to you.
Very kind to say that. Thanks. And yes, I was nervous walking up, so I'll just say that.
So any other groups, any other name dropping you want to say that you've played with, any other people that you've done some amazing work with? Because like I said, you are an amazing trumpet player, whether you want to admit to it or not. So who else have you worked with?
You know, just with being with the jazz orchestra and running the jazz festival that we have here at El Dorado that we put on every year, you know, we've been fortunate enough to have some really amazing guest artists join us. So, you know, just sharing the stage with those individuals. I've had Mike Williams out a few times. Mike Williams used to be the lead trumpet player for Count Basie.
Yep.
For, gosh, 31 years. And, you know, we've had some terrific saxophone players like Dick Oates play along with the band. And
well, of course, Bobby was the leader for many years, and he's done some workshops with you too, right? Bobby Shue.
You know, that right there, I mean, I'm going to save that the best for last, but I can't, you know, it was an unbelievable learning experience having him lead the jazz orchestra, and also a lot of pressure as well. You know, I'm playing in front of that trumpet god right there, and trying to play well, but also it was equally as exciting just to absorb all of that information from him.
Yeah.
So to share the stage with him is always a joy, because he's such an unreal trumpet player, again, one of the best in the world. And but to also just hear his stories that he has.
Oh yeah.
And just to learn from all of his lessons, you know, he's the best.
Yeah. Oh no, no argument from me. I've known Bobby for many, many years, and he's the guy who, when I called him up and I said I need a new trumpet, and this was back in the middle '90s, he actually went and handpicked right when they first came out with the 6310 Z horn. He actually handpicked one of those for me and sent it to me. So I still have that horn. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great horn, and Bobby's he's such a nice guy, and he's willing to give his time and energy for pretty much anyone who's willing to ask for it. So here's my question, and I know it's tough. How do you balance all of this out? How do you balance out your teaching duties, your home life, all these things that you do, all this trumpet? How do you balance all of this?
Honestly, I struggle with balance all the time. It's difficult. It's really difficult. And not to keep going back to what we just went through again, but that certainly didn't help anybody in terms of putting yourself in a good mental state, you know, of trying to, you know, continue to try to be a good teacher, to try to keep your chops up, to make sure that your family is taken care of. You know, I have 2 teenagers, and one of them now is actually in college, and one's still in high school here. But, you know, to be a good husband and a good dad, and to try to do your best at teaching, and to try to play at the same time. It's a ridiculous challenge that I just try to work on every day. I'll say this: I have not touched the horn in a long time. You know, a few things demonstrating in class, but I've just been so busy, and
Yeah.
then by the end of the day, I'm drained,
Yeah.
and I just want to go sit. So,
Oh, I understand. Really,
so
I do.
yeah, I mean, there's been years where it was extremely rough, and I think everybody's different, and they have to find um, these little things in life that push you, keep you going, make you happy, things like that. So I don't have this definite formula for how I do it. I think it's just like you wake up and you try to do the best you can at what you do, and you go to bed and you start over the next day.
And you do your everything you can to make it work. And trust me, I see it all the time, and I hear stories. You do make it work. So my
Yeah,
compliments to you.
yeah.
So here's my last question, because I'm a gearhead. Sorry, but I am.
Okay.
So what kind of trumpet are you playing on? What kind of mouthpiece are you playing on? What's your normal setup nowadays?
So let's see. I'm trying to think of when I got this horn. Back in 2008, I got the shoe 8310.
Okay.
8310Z. And I actually got that because my other horn was stolen. And I used to play what I think you play now, which is that 6335.
I play the RC version, but yes, I play the 6335 RC.
Okay, so that's something you and I should just chat with after this whole thing is done, because I'm interested in, the whole RC and what that is. But
I
but I've
will.
had that but I've had that 8310 for quite some time. And I liked it because it was so open
Hmm.
and free blowing. It was just so easy.
Yeah.
And I have played a Monet BL2 mouthpiece for lead and commercial playing for, gosh, maybe almost 20 years now. But now I'm like, I actually have like a newer model of that, and it's called they call it like a light resonance prana version.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes. And I'm
So
not very versed in Monet,
yeah,
but I have a colleague of mine who lives in New Zealand that actually plays on that model, and
yeah,
he loves the heck out of it. I should try some of the Monet. I'm a GR mouthpiece guy, so I play the GR series of mouthpieces. But yeah, so you play on, so you've got a Monet mouthpiece and you play the 8310Z trumpet. What about a flugelhorn? What flugelhorn do you work on?
I've had the same flugelhorn since I right out of high school, and I really do want to. I should uh, invest in getting a professional model, but honestly, the one I've had for many years is a student model Yamaha. Um, it's served its purpose. I don't do a huge amount of flugel playing, um, and to be honest, I've been thinking about maybe just getting another trumpet, because I'm getting that itch, as you know, that we get. And
Yes,
so I know that Wayne Bergeron has a new model of his that just came out. So I'm
right.
interested in trying that. I go to a conference every year in Chicago. A bunch of band directors go to that, and so I've been fortunate enough each year to try some different horns. And I think I played Yamaha for so long. I really just enjoy their horns a lot.
Hmm.
I have tried a lot of the box as well, and like there's a New York version, or I don't know if you
Yeah,
got.
it's a New York artist version. It's got a 25 bell on it. It's supposed to be really, really good.
I like that one quite a bit, and yeah. So I'm just like, I've got this idea I'm toying around with of maybe ordering some horns if they still do that, and
Oh no.
well, yeah, I was gonna say they may not do that anymore.
Nope. No, they don't do that anymore. Good luck with
Oh,
that. I don't know if Woodwind and Brasswind still does that, but yeah, with all this COVID stuff,
yeah.
it costs them forever, because then they have to take it home and then they have to completely, yeah. I don't think you'll find that anymore. We're dinosaurs because we remember that.
Boy, that was great. You'd be able to order like 3 horns
Yep.
and try them out, and just pay for the shipping and the restocking fees and stuff like that. Well, all right. Well, you just You
Sorry.
rained on my parade there, Michael.
I'm sorry.
That's
You'll
all
have,
right.
yeah, I'm sure, I don't quote me on that, but yeah, I don't think anybody's doing that because of COVID, and I'm sorry.
No?
But, I'm sure you'll be able to find something, so, all right. Well,
Well,
anyway.
you know, I was going to say too that there's a gentleman that's moving back here in town, and I don't know if you ever knew Peter Bond, but he's a good friend of mine and a former teacher. He just retired from the New York Metropolitan Opera.
I do know Peter, yeah.
And so my plan is, we got together a couple of times in the last 2 weeks when he was here in town, but my plan is to hopefully hang with him a lot and just maybe try some horns, get back in it, learn how to play the trumpet again and stuff.
Oh, come on. Don't put yourself down. You actually, I heard your last concert from the AJO, and I miss your guys, your Tuesday nights when you guys did that once a month. Yeah. I really miss that. So don't sell yourself short, Brad. You're a great trumpet player. So, all right. So thank you, Brad. We appreciate your time. We appreciate listening to you. We appreciate your insight. And I wish you luck for this coming year. I look forward to seeing you more often. And I thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much, Michael. Appreciate it.